Hi, my name is Jeff Dixon. I want to tell you a story. In 1944, Leon Fleischer burst on the classical music scene as a 16-year-old virtuoso pianist. He was hailed as one of the greatest pianists of the century. And 20 years later, in 1964, at the height of his powers, he lost the ability to play. And he said it was the greatest thing that ever happened. And he wouldn't change a thing. Seriously? Is that what you would have thought if you'd have been him? I mean, if you were Leon and you had made your career and been celebrated as one of the greatest pianists of the century, not the year, not the decade, but of the century. And then 20 years into the century, you lost your ability to play. Would that really be the greatest thing that ever happened to you? Well, let's go back in time. Leon Fleischer was preparing for a tour of the Soviet Union. This is 1964. He is popular. He is being hailed by everyone as the best, maybe the best there ever has been. When his fingers in his right hand began to unexpectedly just curl up, he responded by doing what grinders do. He practiced harder. And within 10 months, that pain, that curl in his right hand had changed. And now his fingers were balled into a permanent fist. He lost the ability to play the piano with his right hand. His left hand worked fine. His right hand, simply a fist. You can't be the world's greatest pianist with one hand and a fist. Fleischer saw dozens of doctors and tried everything from aromatherapy to Zen Buddhism, but to no avail. Since the age of 4, this was it for me. And suddenly, I couldn't do it, he said. I was desperate and I was desolate. It rippled through his life. His marriage fell apart. His career went down the sewer, and he felt like giving up. But he didn't. Seriously, he didn't. Instead, he decided if he wasn't going to be the greatest pianist anymore, he would become the world's greatest piano teacher. He learned to conduct. He began performing the small number of classical pieces that can be played with only his left hand. And he kept believing that someday, maybe, just maybe, a miracle would happen. Doctors eventually diagnosed his problem as focal dystonia, a rare neurological disorder. By the mid-1990s, experimental Botox treatments restored the use of his right hand. And in 2003, he staged a triumphant return to Carnegie Hall, where he played his first two-handed concert in more than 4 decades. See, during his 30 years in the wilderness, he was robbed of playing time. He was robbed of the fame and fortune that he could have made. He was robbed of the acclaim that he had already been given. Did the 30 years really rob him? Well, see, Fleischer didn't think so. He says, and I quote, "I'm not sure I would change anything this ever happened to me." What? Seriously? If you're the greatest pianist in the world and it all falls apart and you have to club the keys with your right fist, how is that good? He would go on to say, we spend a great portion of our lives either trying to recapture things or setting up things to achieve. And in doing, we often fail to live in the fullness of the now. I had to learn to live in the fullness of the now. Fleischer says his condition made him a better teacher. because he was no longer able to push a student aside and show them how to do it. What it forced him to do was develop the ability to explain without demonstrating, because that resource was gone. And it made him a great teacher. It made him love music even more. It made him more adept at being able to understand how a piano works and how to get sound out of it, and how to use your fingers on the keys to create marvelous melodies. And so, seriously, as he looked back over his life, he was able to say, I'm not sure I'd change anything that happened to me. Maybe it's that attitude that made Leon Fleischer the greatest pianist of the century. It had nothing to do with how well he played. In your life, your attitude, it really does matter. Seriously. And when you get serious about having an attitude that lines up with the things of God, then anything and everything can happen, because you'll see the world differently. I guarantee it. I look forward to joining you next time.